So we just had our 5th anniversary, right? We just got to 5 years, and a big part of our marriage has been talks like these, like conversations like these, where we just sat down and talked about music. And seeing as our relationship started with my music at a show where I was at, there's a lot of talking about my music and talking to our different thoughts on different things. And my music has been a big part of our conversations together. So I thought it would be great to be able to share this with people, to be able to share this and the different things that happen behind the music that affect our marriage and how the music reflects our marriage and all of those different pieces. And so that's why I wanted to be able to have this conversation and to be able to share this, because I think this is one of the best parts of our relationship. It's just the fact that we can just sit down and just talk. Some days I don't write because what I write, I rehearse. When I make a song, it's immortalized, and I have to deal with it for a long time because I want to be able to perform it. I want to be able to do it well. I rehearse it. And I didn't realize it, but that line really sets up the whole concept of the song. Like that, what I write about, what I focus on, I continue to bring into the world. And sometimes I don't want to deal with what's happening. I want it to go away. I don't want to deal with what's happening in my heart because I don't want to continue to bring it into the world. But if I don't deal with it, I also can't fix it. And that's what this is about. It's like, if we don't deal with systemic racism and the fact that there are laws in our country that continue to bring about results that come from an outdated way of thinking, from a predatory way of thinking. If we don't deal with those things, if we say that, well, I'm just going to ignore them so they don't exist anymore, then we put ourselves in a position where those things just ambush us at every freaking turn. And so the problem was, I was still feeling the pain. I just couldn't tell you I was feeling the pain. And I was still acting out of the pain. I just couldn't tell you I was acting out of the pain. And we deal with that as a country. We deal with that as a society. We deal with that in our communities when we won't come to people for help, when we won't actually sit there and look at ourselves. I say in here, I get tired of reflecting, so I look away. I look at something that can numb the pain. Like, it's like, oh, okay, like, is my addiction that I battle or that I'm recovering from, praise God, but is my addiction with pornography a part of that too? Like, man, I don't want to deal with this pain. I'm gonna stuff it down. So now when something comes up that triggers me, I think of my coping mechanisms, not of the process of healing. To me, those are lines that really reflect what this song is about, because it's about a lot of societal issues. But I think the biggest thing is our lack of reflection. Our lack of reflection, or instead of self-reflecting, we see the symptoms of the problems, and we start reflecting, we start mirroring the symptoms of the problem. All I hear is this, the Mr. Fofitoda cooking Coke and baking soda. It's like, I've seen this, I've heard this, and I don't like it. I hate it, but it's how I've seen people cope. It's how I've seen people get through this. But I kind of want, when you hear this, what does this song make you feel like? Is there anything that you necessarily connect with or resonate with in this song? Or?
So it's funny because as we were listening, and I was reading through the lyrics, I realized on this song, I never paid attention to the lyrics as much as I typically do. And it's because I really like the sound of the song.
That's dope.
And
That's dope.
It's not not that it doesn't relate to me, because I felt frustrated, to be honest, because I could tell a little bit of what you were writing about when it came to what Black people deal with and stuff, and just all the things that have happened or that we've seen in the news and stuff the last few years. That's what I pictured. It felt like a story of the past couple years of just the different events that have happened. And it's frustrating to me since I'm married to a Black guy and have mixed kids. So,
right? Yeah.
But I hadn't actually paid that close attention to the lyrics because I liked the song. I don't know if that makes any kind of sense.
That's part of it's the spoonful of sugar type of concept. right? Like that's what I go for. I try to write songs that are like, all right, I want this to be in a way to where it's palatable, where I can talk about hard topics, but it still be a bop. Like that was the goal. So that excites me. That it's like, yeah, I didn't really think about how hard this song was because I enjoyed the song. I'm like, yes. So like that's good. But yeah, it is like it's funny because I didn't either. And normally I can't take myself out of that mode. That's why I don't normally like to listen to songs like this. But when I sat down and listened to the words or read the words, like that changed it for me because I stopped listening as much as I started like reading and thinking. And it took me back to like, for me, this song was I'm not gonna say a dark place because I was doing fine at the time, but it was some stuff that had been unprocessed that when I started reading the lyrics, it was like, oh, or when I wrote it, it was like, oh. And as the song developed, it turned into more of, okay, now that I've dealt with me kind of in this first verse, I can deal a little more with what's going on outside. And when I was thinking about what to talk about, I was like, this song is a lot like the other day we had a conversation, and I was like, I'm not good at asking questions. You're like, I don't think that's true. I think you're great at asking questions. And I was like, well, then why don't I ask questions? And we were able to like start delving into this traumatic stuff from my childhood where I was kind of punished for asking questions. Like whenever I asked a question, it was like, man, you're not stupid. Like you should figure it out. And it caused me to feel like it's not okay for me not to know. It's not okay for me not to understand. And I need to figure out things on my own. And it's like that carried over into our marriage. And there are some conflicts that we've had that are due to the fact that I have that trait, which felt like a personality trait to me, but was really a trauma response. It was actually a response to trauma deep in my life. And I never would have found out about it if I didn't take the time to, during our conversation, start to process and didn't have your help processing through that because you asked me really good questions. And so I wanted to make sure I thanked you for that too. Like the fact that we sit down and dang it, man, I shouldn't cry yet. We're not even.
Don't cry because I'm wearing makeup. I don't want to cry.
Sorry, I'm a crier. So, like the very same thing that made our relationship so great, that we could sit down and process anything. We can sit down and talk through anything, just the same way we sit down and we talk through my songs earlier in my career, even now. Like it's that same process that helped me to start to heal traumas that I've had in my heart probably for 20 plus years, and so I really appreciate that. And I don't know, it was a vulnerable moment for me, which usually our conversations go the other way. Usually I'm usually facilitating the conversation and it's like you're having to come out of your shell. But this one for me was like, I was really uncomfortable. And you just walked me through that conversation. You just walked me through that. I'm like, well, why don't you like asking questions? And how do you, and when I objected, you didn't just shut it down. You're like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I think you're wrong. I think there's something more to this, and helping me even see like, hey, maybe this person is a source of trauma in your life, and you never realized that they were a source of trauma in your life, and you don't hate that person. It's not, and you really helped me to like come to grips with that of like, yeah, I love that person, and they did some things that unintentionally really hurt me and have transformed who I am, and I have to let some of those things go. For the sake of all my relationships now. And it's like life has been brand new due to that. And it's like, so it's like, it is reflections. It is reflecting, but not having to reflect on my own. I think what has made that better for me.
I'm glad I could help.